Hello BookTube. For this Tag Tuesday, I'm going to be doing the GarbAugust Trashy Books tag. This tag was created by Criminali in honor of his upcoming reading event, GarbAugust. GarbAugust is pretty much reading garbage fiction or trashy fiction in the month of August, and Criminali is being joined by a slew of other co-hosts, including Steve Donahue, Sally Swearingen, and Michael K. Vaughan, and it's about 13 in all. And I'm planning on joining in for at least the first week. I do have other reading plans for August, so the first week's about all I can do. And I'll get to my GarbAugust possibilities at the end of this video. And I'll make a note in the title that it is. So anyway, let's get on to the questions. And I'm getting this from Criminali's original video, so I'll link it in the show notes down below, along with the prompts. Question number 1. Trashy books are often dismissed by the critics. What's a book which is regarded as trash, which you think has artistic value? Now, this prompt gave me, or question gave me, a lot of trouble. And a number of the questions in this tag gave me a little bit of trouble trying to think of good books to sort of talk about. In part, I think it's Steve Donahue's version of the tag, or his response to the tag, in a way, I think matches some of my concerns. It's sort of is this sort of, or the critics being set up as being snobs, and so all trashy fiction, all garbage fiction is basically what these critics disdain, which is pretty much everything but literary fiction. Or is there a more specific trashy fiction or garbage fiction that seems to be the case when Criminali has talked about garbage fiction? I don't quite know. So I'm not entirely satisfied with my answer, but I'm going to go with it because I don't have a better one, and that is The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side by Agatha Christie. The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side is one of the Miss Marple novels. It's about a famous actress who's in her sort of declining years. She's not as popular as she once was, and she's taken one of the stately homes near St. Mary Mead, Gossington Hall. And as this actress kind of opens the house up for charity after she's renovated it, a murder takes place, followed by, as is the Christie tradition, several more murders. And as this is set in St. Mary Mead, Miss Marple is on hand to suss out what happened. And I think, in a way, well, I think Christie's always had good reviews. I think this novel comes in her later period where the reviews are a bit more critical. And I think The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side does have some really interesting things to say, particularly about how society has changed, how Britain has changed over the decades. Because there's a very strong sense of St. Mary Mead no longer being what it once was, that it's changing, and is this change a good thing or a bad thing? And it's very fascinating. So I'm going to go with The Mirror Cracked from Side to Side. Question number 2. Critics often love books with extreme or challenging content. Which critically praised book did you think was trash? So again, there's that. So is by trash, do we mean trashy fiction, or do we mean it's poop? It's a bad book. It's a book you did not like strongly enough to think it should be in the garbage. Um, so this prompt gave me some trouble as well. But I'm going to take a page from Criminali's original video, and I'm going to answer with a Bret Easton Ellis novel, although in my case, I'm going to go with his first novel, Less Than Zero. This is a novel from the mid-80s. It's about a young college student who's returning home to Los Angeles over, I think it's a summer break, so it could be the winter break. It's been forever since I've read it, and basically gets into a lot of stuff that's rather dark. And I want to say the book was well received when it came out, and I think it's still being well received, but it's kind of trashy, as most of Bret Easton Ellis's work is. So I'll go with that. Prompt number 3, or question number 3. Not everyone approves of trashy books. What's a book you wouldn't read in public? So for this one, I'm going to go with Boy Band by Sam Stevens. This is a gay erotic novel about members of a boy band who, some of them are gay or bisexual, and they start to date, and it's rather explicit. So I would not read that in public, which may be influencing my reading for the first week of GarbAugust. Prompt or question number 4. Books about killer animals are almost always trashy. What animal would you least like to be attacked by? Godzilla. I don't know. I mean, again, this is one of those questions in this tag that I don't know if I have an answer to, because there's no particular animal that I have that amount of fear towards. So I don't know. I guess maybe crocodiles or alligators would be an answer, or sharks, but I never really am in a way to encounter them, so I don't know. Question number 5. Trashy books often flourish in specific genres. What's your favorite trashy subgenre? Gay erotic fiction. Although it is very difficult for me to read it because there's a bit of embarrassment, and it's also usually rather trashy and not in a good way. Prompt number 6. Famous people love to milk their fans by publishing books. Which celebrity would you like to read a trashy novel by? Well, when I was thinking of this tag, and again, this one was giving me some trouble, I was thinking of Chris Colfer, who is an actor who made famous by his role as Chris Hummel on Glee, who sort of turned that acting career into a literary career. He's as famous now for his series of middle grade children's novels called The Wishing Spell, or no, The Land of Stories. And he's also written some YA work, the novelization of Struck by Lightning, which he also screenwrote, as well as Stranger Than Fanfiction, which is really trashy from what I can remember of it. And I've kind of often wondered, how trashy would an adult novel written by Chris Colfer be? And then I'm also thinking of maybe Ronan Farrow, who is a journalist who has written 2 books, one most famously Catch and Kill, which is the story of his investigation into Harvey Weinstein, and the links that Harvey Weinstein went to try to keep his activities secret. And I've been reading Catch and Kill, I was thinking, I would be interested in reading a thriller written by Ronan Farrow. I think that would be really interesting. Although maybe he would want to stick to reporting. But I'll go with those two. Prompt number 7. Trashy books have the best covers. Which book on your shelves has the trashiest cover? So for this, I'm going with The Moon's Deep Circle by David Hawley. This is a fairly trashy cover because it's just very, very blue and very, very gothic-y, evocative, even though the cover quite lies. But anyway, it's about a young man who's basically coming into his sexuality, who discovers his older brother's journals and finds out that both of his older brothers are also gay and that they were part of a neo-pagan religious group when they were roughly the main character's age. It's rather trashy and rather weird, but anyway. Prompt number 8. Trashy books often contain adult themes. What's a book you read before you were old enough to? For this, I'm going to go with A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I do not have a cover for the novel to show you. I don't have it anymore. I first read it when I was 8 or 9 in a Great Illustrated Classics edition, and I was way too young. That book is quite traumatizing and quite tragic, and yeah. It's basically about Paris in the early in the French Revolution, and it's about two characters who look exactly alike, who are in love with the same girl or young woman, and one of them eventually sacrifices himself to save the other, and a sort of an identity switch. If I remember correctly, I mean, again, it's been about 30 years since I've read it. So, but yeah, I was way too young to read it. Question number 9. If you were a character in a shifter romance, which is basically a romance in which one or both participants are able to change shape into either another animal or into a sort of a human, this other animal hybrid. Think werewolves. What creature would you want you or your partner to shift into? I would go with scorpions, although it would have to be a much bigger scorpion. Or octopuses. Question 10. Tag the trashiest booktubers you know. I'm going to basically do my normal, if you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. So that concludes the GarbAugust Trashy Books tag. Now I'm going to do a quick what I'm planning to read the first week of August for GarbAugust. I'm not entirely sure how many of these books I'm going to get to. I'm not entirely sure what is going to be happening the first week of August. I'm going to have a new niece born the first week of August, and I'm probably going to be watching my 2 nieces and 2 nephews, the 4 children of the apocalypse, this coming Monday and Tuesday, so that will affect kind of what I read. So, with that in mind, I'm wanting to get to Boy Band by Sam Stevens. This is, again, a gay erotic novel about the members of a boy band who, I guess, decide to fall in love with each other. I'm also planning on reading From Russia with Love by Ian Fleming, and this omnibus edition. I might also get to Goldfinger as well, depending on my mood. From Russia with Love is about SMERSH, the Soviet intelligence agency seeking revenge on James Bond for Bond's foiling of a number of Soviet schemes. Most notably, his role in the defeat of Lashif in Casino Royale, the defeat of Mr. Big in Live and Let Die, and the defeat of Hugo Drax in Moonraker. So, and then Goldfinger is basically James Bond investigates an incredibly wealthy and corrupt businessman named Auric Goldfinger. So yeah, I've read them all before, but it's been a while since I've read any Ian Fleming. And then I'm also going to read some Conan pastiches. I'm going to reread Conan the Savage by Leonard Carpenter. This is a novel in which Conan joins Hill tribe in the kingdom of Bithynia, while Bithynia is being taken over by an evil witch. And eventually the kingdom attacks this hill tribe or forest tribe, and Conan goes in revenge. It's been 20 years or more since I've read this, so really looking forward to having another go at it. And I'm also planning on reading Conan the Valiant by Roland Green. This is another Conan pastiche put out by Tor in the late 80s and into the 90s, and I don't know if I've ever read it. It's basically Conan working as a mercenary for the Turanians, and he's ordered to accompany a sorceress against an evil wizard. So that is roughly my plan for the first week of GarbAugust. I'm hoping to get to at least 2, maybe 3 of these books, depending on how my schedule turns out this coming week. And I'll let you know, obviously, again on Friday with more specific plans. And if not, then obviously next weekly reads, I'll discuss basically what I did read and what I didn't read. So anyway, BookTube, again, thank you. Have a great afternoon. And I will see you tomorrow with penguins I wish existed, but don't for the moment.